Have you ever been working on a project and it was a multifaceted piece of work, and just one little mistake or one little thing gone wrong, and the whole thing came apart, or the whole thing went wrong? Maybe you were cooking something and working with a recipe and you forgot one ingredient, or you did one little step wrong, and it made the whole thing a disaster. We understand sometimes it's not the big things in life that are a disaster, although they are. Often the big things in life that are disasters are caused by something much smaller. And if we can get at the heart of the small things, maybe we won't have the big things to be such problems, and we can avert those kind of disasters. In the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 10, beginning at verse 1, Solomon writes these words: dead flies, now that's a pretty interesting way to start a verse, but it says, dead flies make the perfumer's ointment give off a stench. And in this section, he's really writing something more that sounds like Proverbs. But in the second half of this proverb, he says, so a little folly, like these dead flies that make this ointment a stench, so a little folly outweighs wisdom and honor. This is kind of building on something that was actually mentioned in the very last verse of the previous chapter. The last few words of chapter 9, which of course Solomon didn't divide it up into chapters like we have it, and it was just a continuous thought. And the last words just before this thought read like this: one sinner destroys much good. Now I want you to notice that contrast here. One sinner destroys much good. And then I want you to notice how it says a little folly outweighs much wisdom and honor. And we have to think about this great example that's given to us here as a warning to how we need to conduct ourselves in day-to-day life. You think about people who are known, even in the scriptures, for making great decisions and making great choices, but then they made one decision or one choice and it kind of unraveled their life. I mean, you think about Moses and Aaron making that decision to strike the rock rather than speak to the rock. You think about Esau making a decision that was foolish, and that one decision kind of colored the rest of his life, and it undid many things that potentially could have been very good. And we have to understand that can happen to me. That can happen to you. And we have to conduct ourselves in such a way that we don't let these little things unravel the big picture that we're trying to create with our life of faithfulness and holiness and walking as closely as we can with God. You know, sometimes just a few sentences with a few unkind words or a few ugly words can undo a Christian's influence almost permanently, if not permanently, at least with his fellow man. And so we have to be very careful that we don't allow the little things to destroy the big things, like those few dead flies and that big ointment destroyed it, ruined it. Don't ruin your Christian life over something little.